Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the rank 1 Terran in the world in the blue. It's Clem. Facing off against Serral's greatest stunt double, the Rocky Zerg in the red. We have Solar in a best of 5 Terran versus Zerg showdown. And before we ring the bell on the first round, it'd be amazing if you could smash that like button and maybe even subscribe. How we count to the algorithm? Jimmy, what are we at? 1,682 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As Solar is able to slip out the first drone, pull it right underneath the SCV, and looks like he'll be able to get his third base right before the Reaper comes across the map. A good old-fashioned gasless build. No access to Zergling speed early on. So he's going to get poked and prodded by the Reaper, the Hellions, the Banshees. But we already established he's willing to take it. Solar, well, what does a stunt double do? They do all the drama, they take all the risk, and do many of the similar things as their counterparts. And Solar being Serral's stunt double, both in name and in action, feels incredibly accurate to me. As he won't play perfect, but he'll play perfect enough that sometimes you can't recognize the difference. But it'll also look painful and probably has a lot of insurance. And I'm getting a little off track, but Solar staying on it, making sure he has as many minerals as possible early. I'm sure Clem will recognize the more macro-oriented play. Already a third CC back at home, going for the Destiny Cloud Fist, the 1-1-1, the Barracks, the Factory, the Starport. Ooh, mutually assured bounce there. Giving him access to all the opportunities for the Terran. Though we all know that he's probably going to lean towards man with gun. A classic tactic. Roachhorn is on the way. Now, 3 minutes is incredibly early. 4 minutes would be more macro-oriented, and 5 minutes is just, I'm going layer tech roaches. But a 3-minute Roachhorn is cause for concern, and worthy of note. Which is why I noted it. But could easily lead itself to some aggression. He's walling off against potential Hellion run-bys, though got to be a little careful. The Reaper grenade bouncing things around. I'm sure Clem will try to take the opportunity. Solar knows how much Clem is looking to run by. Clem recognizes this as a gas burst, like a gas or a gasless build. So you don't have speed links. The Hellions can just run by everything. So a physical wall is the only way to keep them out, because the Terrans, they're not sending their best. Creep tumors being incinerated by the oncologist Hellions, but a single 4 roaches. Okay, 4 sloaches are out. Solar gonna try to box the Hellions out of the base for now. And so far, Clem has done very little to slow down the sheer exponential growth of the Zerg. Between the injects and the early hatcheries, Solar, with 4 roaches, has covered for nearly 60 drones in 5 minutes, which is incredibly fast. Meanwhile, though, Clem feeling comfortable just building up back at home. Got the double NG bay. We got more barracks. Cloak is about to complete, but I'm sure I'll flip it over for a reactor and get some medevacs out momentarily. All the fixins coming together. There is a spore crawler on the way, but a severe gap here. Gonna lose several drones to a Cloak Banshee as the Queen's congregating around, and the Hellions get by, and oh no, it's a disaster right now. Solar! He set everything up so well, and Clem, it's all come crumbling down. Well, up in flames is more accurate, I guess, but... So, Solar goes from one of the cleanest possible starts to a purifying fire from the Hellions. 10 drone kills, scrambling back, now just rebuilding drones, but this is such an important timing. The Queens? Get off my creep! Brenda, we really should have had detection earlier. That's not the important part. We work with what we have. But why didn't we have detection? Let's not worry about the past. Sorry. I blacked out for a moment. But Solar hamstrung at the exact moment that he wanted to start springing forward. He has to come back and deal with the Hellions. He loses a dozen or so drones. 10 drones. at a very key time, right before his tech was coming online, before he started his road speed. Now he does not have the opportunity to potentially swell and counterattack with a... What? There's no spore. I don't think Clem recognized... Well, Clem doesn't have... got the second one. Which, a bit lazy from Clem to have the Banshee on that pathing, but overall, I'd say that early pressure was a resounding success. A relatively low cost on units that, let's be honest, they have an expiration date. The Hellions and... Well, Banshees, on the other hand... Susan, are you sure you're not using Apple Maps? Where are we going? Notice? Look down! I can't tilt my head. Not since the accident. There's no creep! Well, the Queen's kind of trundling off for a moment. The double medevac. 1-1 completed. Stim, of course. Infestors are popping out. Solar mixing him in before he goes up towards Hive. A very quick Hive. A very quick Hive. Said with the appropriate amount of drama on the second time. So just take that one. Meanwhile, the Infestor will reveal it. How many siege tanks? Just a couple. No more in production. Only one factory in Clem. 68 SCVs going up to the Octo Rags timing. So, Solar. I don't know why I'm surprised. I don't know why this is something I didn't expect. Considering everything we talked about in the first few minutes about the Rocky Zerg, he got punched in the face, and it seems like he's better for it. He's got 86 drones, 4 bases, decent creep. Hive is already done. Lurker range is on the way. Solar, it seemed like that was the inspiration to really pull it all together. And now has a very dangerous army that I don't think Clem is realizing. He is not expecting Lurkers this early. He's building Widow Mines, which are great against almost everything, including the mental health of everyone playing against them. But not so great against Lurkers, which outrange them by a huge margin. Clem is not adding any tanks or liberators. And that means if a critical mass, like double-digit ranged Lurkers are coming across the map, there's going to be almost no answer. He starts the Ghost Academy. He's realizing that Solar just sitting back. He's clearly techie up towards Hive. One Hero Marine. Not to be confused with Big Gabe. Taking down multiple creep tumors. But Clem, he does have a lot of production. You can hit that from the other side. Of course you can. The Roaches, not going to be able to win this fight. The Widow Mines will burrow. Couple picked off. But where are the Lurkers? When the creep had fallen, where were the Lurkers? When the base was under fire, where were the Lurkers? When the Infestor threw out the Fungal, where were the Lurkers? This trade, not going great for Solar so far. Clem just tearing through everything. A couple Lurkers. Okay, there they are. Over on the right side, covering for that base. But I do have to say, so far, Clem taking... Well, again, he's put on so much pressure that Solar has not been able to strike back. It has allowed him to build up the unit composition. He has a 4th base. The Infestor just pops. And Medevacs are able to boost away. The Lurkers, he splits, he stims, he dives on the Lurkers. 1 transfuse to help. Most of the army is eviscerated. He kills 3 Lurkers. But at what cost? This isn't a low economy Zerg where Clem's gonna follow up with a big timing. He can't take advantage of killing 3 Lurkers because Solar can build like 7 more. This isn't the time to be trading out a potential critical mass of units in order to whittle down some units they'll easily replace. I think it's another attempt to keep them at bay, as Clem knows he doesn't have the ghosts. The Widow Mines are a finicky creature in this scenario. Adrenal glands on the way. Baneling speed, as eventually we get to the Lings and Banes. You need that mass larva, that mass circling, that more maneuverable army. The Widow Mine, pretty big hit on the corner. The Ghosts out in front, though. Gotta get out of there before the Hydras. Ooh, almost able to pick off like half the Ghosts in that medevac, but there's a Nidus in the back. Both sides, 200 supply. Here we go. Another Ghost. Ripped to shreds, I say. The Roaches and Hydras moving back, but in the main, Changeling's taken down. They were actually blocking it out. Counterattack, and the Lurkers, they'll pop out of the Nidus, and now there's quite a problem in the main base. Undercut by everything. The SCVs ripped to shreds at the base to the north side. And the main base is doing even worse. 14 SCVs dead. The production, the Ghost Academy, the factory as well. And Clem has lost all the initiative. He's been racing against the lurkers ever since he realized they existed. And right now, it looks like he's on the brink of losing it. Ghost Academy being rebuilt. Eventually, the main base will be cleaned up. But so much of the army eviscerated by the lurkers, trying to fight on the open field. More 17 SCVs dead. Predator drones added into the army. They just want to participate in the group activity. Orbital tries to land in a world of fire, but that's actually just looking outside the window. Goes down. Banelings zoning things out. And Clem has the army supply, moves back. The lurkers pre-scans again, runs them over. And Clem has 95 army supply to 78. He's got 2-2 to 1-2. Attack and carapace upgrades. Does Solar have any lurkers? Oh no. He doesn't have any lurkers back at home. He sent them all through the Nidus onto the field. Clem actually has a ridiculously high supply for the situation. It's almost entirely an army as he loses even more SCVs. Clem's down under 50. The reinforcements coming out. There's going to be a 4th orbital command, but the scans are not easy to come by, and that means almost no mules because he can't take the risk that the lurkers take a winning fight. But the M&M here, the Marines, the Marauders, a tank mixed in, the Medivacs and the Magos so far. Just wailing on the hatchery. That single siege tank. And gonna use some of the Broodlings to try to dive on top. Lines up the shots on the lurkers mid-fight. Scan will reveal them, and Clem manages to move forward despite taking a couple steps back. Single infester, EMP whipped out, no energy left. Overseers also eat some of it as well, but he's got to get out of there. Lunges forward with the Hydras. 1, 2, 3. And so many medevacs knocked out of the sky. Clem actually ends up fighting his way out of that situation, but a lot of losses in the process. So much army and so dangerous. But Solar dealt a critical blow earlier to the production and the economy, and Clem is reeling from it. Solar loses multiple hatcheries, but bounces back even stronger. Reconsolidating his forces. Creep spread looking pretty good on the field, especially considering how much pressure Clem has put on, but the lurkers are rebuilding. There's still 84 drones. Clem, 56 SCVs. Technically still has 4 bases. Wait, the main base? Well, there's 1 SCV left behind. Couple lurkers morphed in the middle of the map, a bit optimistic. We'll scamper back to the creep. You sly dogs. The Zerglings counterattacking again. Not nearly enough Marines to defend. Forced to cancel the base down the center. But the Zerglings at the 12 o'clock. The Widow Mine will undercut them. But a Nidus over to the left side. The lurkers to reinforce. Might even be able to take down the orbital if Clem's looking the other way. But Clem in the middle of nowhere right now in purgatory. He can't go forward. And there's almost nothing left to come back to. Solar just absorbing the damage early. He lost a bunch of drones to Banshees and then came back stronger. The lurkers were so early and dictated the pace of the game so much. The escape Nidus does pretty well. And the Zerglings will overrun some of the ghosts. GG Solar with a swarm-worthy performance in game number 1. Loses more resources, but wins more game. 1-0 for Solar. Clem, I think Clem felt good about that early. Like, getting in with the Hellions, getting damage with the Banshees, that really, there should have been Spore Crawlers. But somehow Solar ends up with 80 drones and 200 supply with lurkers at 8 minutes anyways. Clem not really respecting the danger it poses and being punished for it. Game 2, Ultra Love. I hope it's an accurate description this time. I always do, but I'm almost always disappointed. Like and subscribe for Existential Dread. Solar. that flavor of Zerg, a bit of a spicy one, where the roaches to box out early and help you get a huge drone count. I kind of feel like this is how Solar works. If he just goes up and nothing terrible happens, he doesn't have the adversity needed to grow stronger. Like an Abathur style of, I need to test out how many of my units I can lose and still survive. So many times I see Solar just get run over. When Solar loses, it's usually to a direct attack. As in, one attack and just dies. He doesn't have the time to recover. He doesn't have another round to fight. But the longer the game goes on, the more you can drag it out, the better he seems to do. So, Clem just not hitting that sharp timing, and Solar eventually smothering him. SCV Scout going out. Not particularly early, just making sure the Reaper doesn't have to stay at home and kind of mind for Zerglings. As you can tell the timing of the spawning pool based on when the hatchery is. You can tell by the way it is. Isn't that neat? But that is what he's looking for. And then maybe to block the third. But this time around we got gas and then pool. I like the gasless build to start. Just put it out there. Make it so Clem can't prepare. Well, if Clem is allowed to do the same build every game, which Terrans love to do, for all they want to pretend they're original, they're about as innovative as innovation. A player well known for doing like the same build 3 times in a row in a best of 5, losing all 3 times, and then coming back the next series and doing it. And then the third series he ends up winning. And then he wins the whole tournament. It's not clear how that works, but, well, it's because Terran units, when perfectly microed or well-timed, can be by far the most efficient in the game. Clem has a tendency to prove that painfully and beautifully accurate, depending on which side you're on. Rude. Third command center on the way. Zerglings patrolling for the potential Reaper jump. But Solar gets his third. He's got speed. He pulled off the gas entirely. Maximize those minerals. The Queens. Just trying to push the Reaper away. Make sure you can get some more creep spread down there. Keep things a bit in the... Oh! Zerglings managed to get the full grab. And not in a fun way. If you patrol them, sometimes they can just end up getting the false around in a way that hold position or just holding them there would not. Oh, runs right past the grenade. Gonna nibble. The jetpack, though, a bit too much to chase down for now. Hellions joining up with the Reapers. And we don't see... We just see 3 more Queens and a couple drones in production. Solar is back to mining gas. Is that... Clem is gonna mech it happen. Alright, taking us to McDonald's. The Hell Clones. Very likely the Hell Clones. He's already got one on the way. Oh. We'll see what Solar's response is. This incredibly difficult build to deal with. It's very brittle, though. If you, don't get the jump... unlike Marines and Medevacs, you can't just lose a chunk of your army and expect to keep up the momentum. You can't just fly away with Cyclone. They're very good. Magfield Accelerator being researched right now, increasing that locked-on damage from 50% from ridiculous to redonkulous. Actually, I think it's 400 to 600 over like 11 seconds, but terrible, terrible damage. But and it gets dealt quicker. It's not just a duration extension. Okay. Which maybe some people might need, but you know. Layer's halfway there. He's gonna spot it. Ooh! Yeah, it's Mech! They're all going Mech at least once nowadays. I don't know. Aliens, get a line on some drones. Light them up. Infernal Pre-Igniter, the blue flame. Which, burns even hotter. But only does extra damage to light units. A lot of extra damage to light units. So, your mother will be safe. Queens boxing out. Another Overlord will be popped easily by the Cyclones. Roach speed is on the way. Creep going to be absolutely critical in making sure the Cyclones can't pick off too many units at a time. Trying to get the lock on. Just softens up the Queens. And because the lock on is spell damage, any amount of armor doesn't really help against them. It goes right through it. Trying to cut off the reinforcements, but Hellions helping out. Ooh, it's 2 Cyclones with Zerglings, which is about as good as you can hope for. So, Solar only has 54 drones against 58 SCVs of Clem. He's adding on production. There's no further tech. Solar is effectively all in on Roaches here. He's trying a 4th base, but the Cyclones just lock in and lock on. The creep has been kept at bay. Clem actually splitting his forces. Kind of a crazy move. The Hellions will run by into the natural now that Blue Flame is done. And the fire escape is not enough. 6 drones dead. So many Roaches. They're scurrying across the map right now. A dozen drones. The Hellions are still going. The Roaches are sneaking around. He's going to try to fight on the open field. Hellions still running things around. Gets another couple shots. But he may run right... Oh, he sees it! He was within vision from the depot, and now he knows the Roaches are here. Solar does have a massive supply lead because he's got 31 Roaches. He needs to do critical damage to Clem right here, right now, right here, right now. And the Cyclone count isn't high enough to keep them all at bay. SCVs will be lost. Depots will burn. But the question is, does he have enough? Roaches and Ravagers, the Corrosive Bow to help force the micro out of the Cyclones. The SCVs buying time. A few more Roaches sniping off the clones from the right side, many of them being cut through as well. But the Cyclones cornered, caught between a rock and a hard place. And now, caught in the unit's lost tab. 17 SCVs dead. Most of the Cyclones dismantled rapidly. And a few more on the high ground. Clem retreats back. He's got another command center on the way and a whole lot of optimism alongside. Another set of Corrosive Bow. Cyclones on the high ground still. Slowly working his way through the Roaches and Ravagers. But, well, more knocking on the door. Behind this, remember, Solar only has 40 drones. If Clem survives with anything close, then the Cyclones, once again, can retain the momentum. Solar's so close to breaking through, but that half-done command center is quite a speed bump. The supplies are getting dangerously close to even. The Cyclones are able to drive back the Roaches. And he drove him all the way into the natural, but now the Cyclones are driving right back out. Hellions to thin out the Zerglings alongside. No more drones in production. He's trying to just kill him here. I don't think... The Clempire strikes back. It looks so good for a moment. But Solar, with the lowest possible tech to still be able to close the distance. And Clem shut him down. It was just too much to fall back to. Too hard to squeeze past. And we're all tied up. 1-1. Quite a concise game there. Solar getting caught a little off guard by the Mech, I think. And then, again, the Hellions get in. And again, Solar suffers for it. But the problem there is that Clem could follow it up so quickly with potentially deadly damage that Solar didn't have that time for potential economic recovery. Roaches do not age well. They're all about quantity over quality. And when the quantity thins out, so do your chances. Clem with solid execution. The Blue Flame Hellions, the most predictable yet effective of economic threats. They're going to ley lines. Our stock standard. Our fallback map. You want a standard game? Well, we're heading to ley lines. All tied up. it's always, I think it's important to always have a few of our, I'm not going to say generic, but our familiar maps. Ley Lines and Ultra Love cover that for the current map pool. In fact, they were part of the last map pool, now that I think about it. Wonder why they made it. And I assume at some point in the future we may get a new map pool. But, well, TBD. Command center. On the way. SCV sent out. You know the drill. I gotta pretend to fill time here, so like and subscribe for background noise. Hey, even if it's on the TV, actually I don't know if you can like and subscribe on the TV. If you have a smart TV, then I assume it's listening to you. Just say like and subscribe out loud. And if people are like, what are you doing? And just say participating in the group activity. So, don't make it weird. SCV, a few nibbles. Third base, no gas. It did work out better for him the first time. Now gonna add it on. Reaper pokes in. The drone? Oh no. First blood. Right? Yes. The drone picked off, bounced to the side. Always infuriating, but mostly emotional damage. Third command center. Reactored. Hellions. No, it's Widowmine drop. No, it's not. It's Hellions. It's been Hellion Banshee since for pretty much half of Clem's life. At 23 years old. StarCraft 2 releasing when he was 8. So, that makes you feel old. Don't worry. It only gets worse. How's the back pain? Like and subscribe for Existential Dread. Roach Warren on the way. Hunts down that Zergling, which feels a bit mean. Another gas on the low ground, but many players will just use that as their second, not necessarily trying to hide it or get Mech out early. I don't believe he even had... Oh, he just runs by. No respect! And an open border policy, and now doing a good job boxing things out, but the Reaper in the main is actually killing several drones. Gets 5 more. He lined them up at the last moment. The Reaper is racking up the kills as well. Solar only had 31 in the heli. Oh my. A revolving door of death and destruction. Let's just hope this is the redemption arc, as opposed to the crippling injury storyline here for Solar. Because in game number 1, he took an inordinate amount of damage but from units that he probably should have had a better defense against. And now he has the same opportunity to pull himself up by his roach straps and counterattack and potentially take back control of the game. Unfortunately, this all hit... That was the first 2 Hellions and Reaper. It wasn't like a big run by later on at 50 workers. No. This was right off the bat, and he just roasts a whole nother group of Zerglings. They don't have speed done yet. Gonna get several more drones. He's keeping full control of the situation. There's a Banshee coming across the map as well. 5? Oh my. He's had 31 drones. Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. Now Solar is forced into effectively a Roach Ravager all-in. Clem has done too much damage too early. The Banshees are out. And this is starting to look more one-sided than a Mobius strip here. Well, the thing is, it's not Cyclones. It's just Banshees, which means there's not much on the ground to deal with this directly. He's building a bunker, but it does seem like he may have underestimated the scale of counterattack here. The bunker, it might complete, but it might not matter. There's no way Marines are going to get down the ramp. No more Ravagers. The SC... Let us in! Well... No. Clem says no. And he takes back 2 just like that. Too much damage, too quickly. And now, It's 2-1. Solar, Clem just better every time. Every single time getting better at making sure. He made the mistake of letting the Zerg expand in Game 1. And both lore accurately and historically in these tournaments, that is just not something that ends well for the Terrans. But if you're able to keep control early and dictate the pace of the game and force them into a half-hearted all-in, well, clearly makes things easier. Clem making it look almost easy, though the execution is incredibly hard to do, especially while doing anything else back at home, keeping up on the rest of your build while making sure you actually line up the shots at the Hellions. Solar, a little bit too greedy, and now has lost any semblance of an advantage in the series. Well, I didn't expect it to just end, but sometimes, Clem, one of those games where it's just decided it's time for you to die now. I give you permission to die. The Bane of Zergs. Very quick hatchery out of Solar. Hatchery before Overlord. So, I think the quick gasless queens. Trying to find an angle on this build that works. I would argue it didn't even work in game number 1. It's just, it didn't go poorly enough that it had a dramatic effect. But Clem is clearly focused on those weak points, which are pretty much the first 6 minutes of the game. Where are you going? Drone headed all the way. Is he actually just going to expand to the corner like a straight up hidden base? Or is this hiding it from the Reaper? It's weird he put it on this spot. Exactly, but hidden base is not much of a thing in StarCraft 2 compared to, say, the Brood War, because creep spread is so critical. Brood War, I don't believe there's too much creep spread outright, but instead more of a Nidus network situation, a little bit easier to maneuver, or less easy to be punished quickly. Base is spotted. Will he just expand to that corner? It's very weird he just sits on the base like that. Yes! Clever girl. It's a bold move. We'll see if it works out for him. So, Clem did not get into the main. He's gonna see no third. I don't think Solar mined out enough of this to take the third on the other side as well. The only benefit of taking the base here is if Clem thinks you're too basing and reacts accordingly. I guess it not being scouted and you just playing more economic, well, we'll see. This is one of those, like, is it silver or is it the World Cup sort of builds? It's not even that far up. Okay. All right. We'll see. Clem is building. Oh, he sacrificed the Reaper to get in the main. I think it's working. He's building Marines, like there's going to be some sort of all-in coming. Looks like he's headed towards Cloak Banshees, but he might even go for Siege Tanks. And if he makes a Siege Tank, he's completely misread. Okay. He's going to flip over for Banshees. But just the fact he's building Marines instead of Hellions, I think it worked. He's fully bamboozled him. A single slow link. Speed should have been done by now. A more standard build. Clem hasn't built a Banshee, but definitely feeling, at the very least, confused. So Clem checked, and he saw. I wonder if Solar mined this, but only slightly, so Clem would check it and be like, oh, he didn't make it yet. And then he checked the other third. And yeah, now he's making just Marines. He cannot put any pressure on like this. Now he's making sure no potential Nidus. Wow. And this is one of those plays that only really works if your opponent is very smart. And with incredible amounts of experience. Like, Clem here sitting in his base, anticipating a massive roach all-in. Whereas Solar's just, well, the best defense is a pretend offense. I can't believe this works so well. Wow. Clem completely bamboozled. Will have no ability at all to put on pressure. He can't just walk these Marines across. He has to wait until medevacs. So Solar will get away with a third base and start a fourth before literally anything comes across the map. This mind game. Wow. This worked way better than I think even Solar expected. Almost felt desperate. Like, maybe we'll try a hidden base. We'll throw that one out there. A Banshee's gonna get in. There is an Overseer on the way. It's still going to be a surprising amount of damage, but hey, this is a message from the hatch. This is restricted lair space. So the punishment is death. Brenda, why are you so shrill? You're shrill. I don't. Sorry, I'm blacked out for a moment. The roaches knocking on the door. The door is shut in their face, which is remarkably rude. And even now, I'm coming back with the Banshee. He has no idea. If he really thinks that's the third and this is a big roach all-in, he pulls his command center all the way back. So much lost time. I cannot start, like, I know I'm harping on about it, but it is by far the most important thing happening in this game. The fact that Clem is playing like he's about to get 50 roaches knocking on his door. When right now there's a grand total of 10 and 72 drones and 4 bases. It's because Clem is assuming this is an all-in, and it wouldn't be a surprising thing to do, considering how the last couple games went. But Solar went the other direction. He did a macro cheese. If Clem had realized, he could have gotten far ahead. But it remained hidden, which means he gets all the benefit. And now, by the time that the medevacs come across the map, there should be plenty of units to deal with them. The spore perimeter, the sporimeter, if you would. Kind of weird, but that's fine. I'm here to judge. A little bit. And now the Roach Ravager's online. A self-fulfilling prophecy for Clem. Expecting a huge chunk of units and playing safely. And because Solar was allowed to go for so long, will the Banshee even scout it? He's looking. The Banshee's looking for, well, usually you'd be looking for outline bases. But cloaks, and then realize, at this point, now he knows. This base should not have this many drones. Starting to kind of mine out. Clem will now realize what has happened. That he's been bamboozled. Now, there's not much he can do about it. There's an Ultraless Cavern on the way. 81 drones, 4 bases. A fully operational Solar. Ready to deal with Clem, who's just sitting back towards 200 supply. Fungal catches him. A few survivors. Go tell your friends what happened here. They're Terran. They don't have friends. Exactly. And the only thing missing is Solar mining out the mineral wall so he doesn't get caught by siege tanks in an incredibly awkward position. No Vipers on the way, but infestors. Banshee. Queens will come to deal with it. And now, the creep spread. It's almost no rush, but as Clem almost unilaterally disarmed here in the face of potential aggression. The Ultras are in production. The army just moved out. The Ultras will be fully operational by the time the army gets very close. Command center trying to land on the gold base. This is one way Clem can maybe take back the initiative. Ultras are going to have a doozy of a day trying to break through there. Squeeze through that mineral patch. And here, the issue... Well, there's 4 siege tanks, which is scary, but not devastating. And here's the... Yeah. Medevacs, well, the Ultra. Daddy's home. The El Chapo list come out. And Clem realizes things, his timeline has to move up dramatically. Moving forward with the siege tanks down the center. Triple drop split off. And Solar is starting to bank money already. Looking to bash through the base. Planetary Fortress is completed. That is a horrible choke point. About as bad as you could ever get. They drop to the left side. Just a bunch of dudes with drugs, guns, and a hatred of illegal aliens. And, well, hell yeah, brother. Making me feel right at home. Target fires, gets one hatch. Gets a second one, but now he's unlocked Solar's special technique. He's hit him in the face twice. And now Solar is ready to strike back. With no more hatcheries to protect on that side of the map. Well, this is on. Now, if you look down, you'll see we are in big trouble. That is, those Marines really dreading their potential drop zone. The medevacs, the Queens, the healing shrine, maybe? Dodges by. The Queen's a bit off the reservation now. Oh my. Trundling back. Medevac. Clem is maxed out. He's building 3 more command centers. He's got a fusion core in production for that late game tech. There's still quite a bio ball. Liberator's being added in. And if the Liberator count gets too high, well, this all kind of just ends. Like, huge counterattack being set up. The Ravagers can help. Another one's being added in. Getting right on the edge of that Liberation Zone. The Zergling counter. Doing a full world tour here, it feels like. Siege tanks on the high ground. And Clem has landed his command center right outside the main base. But Solar, Mr. Sergachev, tear down this wall. The Banelings rolling through. The Widowmine will burrow and easily be obliterated. And again, Solar, SCV's leading the charge. He's mining through the mineral. I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe, maybe not. The Ravagers will knock down the Liberator. Get a Widowmine for the price of it. SCV's just chilling after finishing off the mineral wall. Another hatchery will die, but Solar has re-expanded to the bottom left corner. The fact that a planetary is building here is definitely concerning for Solar, but he still has plenty of money in the bank. The Ravagers can deal with smaller amounts of Liberators. But Clem has taken this entire side of the map. What an awkward kind of rotational map. More Zerglings sneaking in. Adrenal Glands is done. 2-2 upgrades for both sides. More Widowmines. Falling back to the planetary. The tanks picked up just in time before they're chopped to pieces by the Ultralisk. But the Ultras, a static target in the planetary, will be taken out. Drops down the corrosive biles. The Ultras try to get through on top of the tanks. There's not enough reinforcements. 27 SCVs dead. Some at the natural, many at the forward base, and now at the gold. Drops out the changelings, which really just makes it harder for his own army to move, but I digress. The planetary will be obliterated. The Ravagers, the Ultras, and the Banelings continuing through. Banelings interrupting the snipes. And with that, Solar strikes back as well. I think we're going to the final match. Game number 5. Ultras rambling all over the field. Orbitals in the air. 49 SCVs sent to the unit's lost tab. Clem will survive. But at what cost? Advanced ballistics for the 1 or 2 surviving Liberators. Planetary will burn. Needs an SCV for some repair. Another round. He has fungals. GG. Before they could even get close. Solar with another very Zerg-like game. The mind game to take the base. That was the simplest yet most effective mind game I've seen in quite a while. Clem got so far into his own head, thinking, like, It only works because Clem is so good at seeing everything he's supposed to see. But that was not something that's supposed to happen. That was not in the script. Just taking the base, but like slightly outside. It works unbelievably well. Keeps Clem at bay. Keeps him in his base until Solar has 4 bases of economy. Ridiculous. But yet, effective. 20 IQ play. 200 IQ. Anticipation. And now we're all tied up 1 game away. And it feels like it's on Clem. Clem needs to take control of the situation and keep it. Otherwise, Solar, too big, too fast. What a back and forth. It's gonna be 2 Rags Reaper. Here on Mech. That seems to be a popular build on this map. Honestly, I'm not that... Well, because of the Reaper balcony. Not just a cliff, but there's a balcony for the Reapers. Allowing them some VIP access. You can also drop... I'm surprised you can't drop a tank on it, but you can drop Marines and Marauders. Marines, obviously, but Marauders even fit. Which is kind of surprising. Not known for their slim profile. Not to judge, but... Couple racks on the way. Not adding any more in the main. Sometimes you'll see the spicy 3rd racks mixed in. But the Reapers just... And especially against someone who's been going for a gasless build. It's not... Well, you're going to get a lot of Queens with the gasless. So, in Reapers, Queens are sometimes a bit too big game to hunt. But, Jimmy, really? Okay. Yes, we like to sell out, but not now! Like and subscribe to the 2nd channel, by the way, if you want more content. And also so I can hire some real professional help. Mentally. Reaper's headed across. Overlord? Ooh. Ooh. Reaper so far. Oh, he's going to 4. Late Queen. The most, well, probably a later hatchery into pool. But if you have Zergling speed, not as painful. Alright, it's a trade-off. Going gasless, getting a quick hatch, so that way you can get as many queens as possible early, make sure you maximize the minerals. But if you're going for speed, usually you're trying to make the best use of the larva. Queens popped a little forward, but the Reapers will maneuver around. The Zergling's already in position to deal with it. But jumps up a single one, grenade at a time. The beachhead. But the Queens will drive them back. The drone. The drone was waiting for its moment, and right as the Reapers go out of vision, the drone comes in. Beautifully done. Solar. Really pulling one over on Clem with the hatchery so far this series. But looks like he canceled the 4th one, or I can't do math, or both, or none. All 3 things. Behind it, a double racks. 3-2-1-1. Can't believe he's gonna follow it up with a bunch of Marines and men. Who would have thought? The Hellions? Why did I say Hellions? It was in my head, but there were no Hellions on the screen at that time. Well, they are now, but... Reapers, I don't want to think too hard about it. That might be the issue. Moving on. Reaper Hellion coming around again. Queens. Trying to dodge the grenades, trembling over each other, stepping on one of their many toes. Find more Dronely fans, but plenty of Zerglings. Should be enough to easily box out the Hellions, at least until the Queens can get more involved. And the Roach Warren is done. There's on the way. Liberator is the choice. So, our most even early game so far. Clem able to put on a bit of pressure, but not kill too many drones. And behind it, following up with the Marine timing. Definitely not going for the more greedy double NG bay, but instead focused on getting those medevacs out as quick as possible to follow up the Hellion Reaper aggression. Gonna try to capitalize on the less mobile nature of the Zerg at this stage in order to pull them apart. Liberator looking for an opportunity, but the Queen clearly unhappy about it. Couple Queens, actually. Just trying to tilt off the edge there. Roach speed on the way. Does he know? Well, obviously it's Marines. Okay, there were two barracks to start, which isn't always a guarantee, but like 97.4 repeating, of course, % of the time. It means we're headed towards the Marines and medevacs. Liberator demonstrating it still technically has an anti-air attack. Not really doing much besides annoying the Overseer, but still. Oh, the Hellions come in from the right side. The drone's on the run. The Hellions will chase. 5 killed. Gets another one on the way out. The Marines darting in. We'll just target the base. And delay the 4th. And the Hellions come back for more. There and back again. An arsonist story. 7 drones. 4th base delayed. Incrementing out the damage. And so far, Clem hasn't really lost anything in the process. Couple Marines. Hellion or 2. Now they've gone a little too far this time. Marines coming in again. Solar's actually a bit supply blocked. Clem putting on a lot of pressure now. He's going to have the upgrade advantage. Solar doesn't have a huge number of drones. Getting that 4th base is absolutely critical to have the larva count you need to actually deal with this. So far, though, really struggling. Hive is on the way. Liberator hasn't gotten any kills yet, but that's about to change. Oh, wow. What a positioning. Oof. Very dead drone. Queens taking some big... Oh, no. No. Well. Quite an angle there. Gets a Queen. 1-1. Now completing for Clem. Gonna be a little bit later for Solar, but not too far behind. Liberator looking for an opportunity, but instead the Marines will just take out the base, which certainly helps. But there's already 3. He's not going to be able to dodge in time. Corrosive Bow's land picks up. Fungal, just a little too late. Picks up and heads towards the main. And here comes Clem. Looking to do some critical damage. 3 medevacs of Marines, 4 medevacs. Solar. Scrambling back to defend. But wait, there's more. The drops on the left. The drops in the main. Solar caught between the Terran armies. And he's already losing so much. The fungal. But another drop. The drones. It's so much. Oh no, he dropped it out at the 3rd. It's drop o'clock right now. And even if Solar is able to defend against this, he's losing so much time, so much momentum. His army is based on... Wait, Solar is just having a breakdown. He didn't... The drones were mining, well, because the Marines were there the whole time, and now the reinforcements are coming across onto the other side. The infestors don't have another fungal loaded up. Another medevac is going to go down with several Marines inside. Solar losing more drones at the natural. The Rocky Zerg is put to the test here with Marines on either side, but it's starting to fall apart. Another one in the main base, a Hydralisk dead to try to deal with it. More Marines. Fungal's not enough. He doesn't have the energy. The infestors are coming close. Will be targeted by the tanks. Corrosive Ball takes him down, but a hatchery under fire as well. What happened to the medevac in the main? Unclear. But Clem, with medevacs that a strong gust of wind would blow away, able to knock out one of the bases, knock out 24 drones in total so far this game, and he has a 4th base behind. The numbers don't lie. They spell disaster for Solar if this keeps up. He's running out of real estate, running out of options. And now there's a clear focal point for Clem. This is the 4th base yet again, and it's only halfway done, taken down twice. The infestors can't get too close. The roaches stopped at a choke point. Takes down 2 siege tanks, but there's more behind him. The upgrades are going to complete for Clem, but he might not need them. GG! Clem takes it. 3-2. The inexorable pressure. More drops than a Skrillex album. Keeping Solar at bay. He just didn't have the units in the right place, nearly at the right time. Clem knew what he needed to do. He adapted. And Solar, he had some pretty genius mind games. But when it comes to the direct engagements and the sheer speed, Clem is pretty much unrivaled. 3-2 for the Frenchman. A strong performance and a pretty dramatic series. So I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I hope it made your day just a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. Glad you still enjoy. Thank you to our mule patrons, Big Jaggy, Devin Door, Cape, Mario, and Suit for bringing in the extra minerals. And I hope to see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.